Did you know car aromas can reduce accidents? It's surprising but true. The right scent inside a car can make driving safer. Studies show that aromas such as lavender or vanilla can calm drivers, reduce stress, and help maintain focus. A relaxed driver is less likely to be involved in an accident, making the choice of car scent not just a pleasant detail, but also an important safety factor. Can you imagine that Cleopatra, the famous queen of Egypt, wasn't Egyptian by birth? Cleopatra VII, the last ruler of ancient Egypt, was born into the Ptolemaic dynasty, which was of Macedonian and Greek descent. She was the first in her family to learn the Egyptian language and adopt local customs, making her a unique figure in history. This queen, who blended cultures and identities, seems to have stepped right out of legend, connecting ancient civilizations and shaping her own remarkable story. Is it really true that goldfish forget in 3 seconds? That's actually a myth. Despite what cartoons and common beliefs suggest, goldfish have surprisingly good long-term memory. Research shows they can retain information for up to 5 months. In labs, they've been trained to push levers for food, recognize shapes and colors, and even return at specific times for feeding, showing an internal clock at work. They also remember tank mates and human caregivers, learning to associate certain people with food. When put in mazes, goldfish can recall the path to rewards even weeks later. Far from being the forgetful fools of the fish world, these creatures have complex neural processes and a keen sense of curiosity. So the next time someone jokes about a goldfish's short attention span, you'll know the truth is far more fascinating. Do you think hot water freezes faster than cold? It is a common misconception. Although it sometimes seems like hot water freezes faster, cold water usually freezes faster under most circumstances. This is because cold water is already closer to the freezing point. However, there is a mysterious phenomenon known as the Mpemba effect, which sometimes causes hot water to freeze faster. Scientists are still debating how exactly this effect works, and its mechanisms remain a mystery. But if you need ice quickly, it is better to start with cold water. Hell freezes over every year. Believe it or not, there's a town in Norway called Hell, and it literally freezes over every winter. This is not a joke, it's a real place on the map. And although the town is quite small, it attracts tourists every year thanks to its unusual name. Due to Norway's cold climate, Hell is covered in ice and snow every winter, often sparking jokes. When hell freezes over is a phrase that is rather common for the residents of this town. So if you want to see hell for yourself, head to Norway in the winter and watch it freeze over. Did you know the average person spends 6 months of their life at traffic lights? The average person spends around 6 months of their life waiting for red lights to turn green. This adds up from all the small stops we make at intersections and crosswalks every day. While it may seem like only a few seconds here and there, over a lifetime, it becomes a significant chunk of time. These moments of waiting remind us of the hidden rhythms of everyday life and how much time we spend on seemingly small things. Did you know that we lose a total of 9 years of life on smartphone screens? Imagine this. According to research, the average person spends about 3 hours a day on their smartphone. Now multiply that over an entire lifetime. Let's say 72 years. It turns out that a whole 9 years of your life is spent staring at your phone screen. Can you imagine how much you could accomplish in that time? Traveling to new countries, learning multiple languages, or writing a book? There are endless possibilities. Next time you pick up your phone, remember you have 9 years you could live differently. Why do you think the world's most expensive coffee costs so much? Kopi Luwak is the world's most expensive coffee, priced at a whopping $600 per pound. This exotic brew is made from coffee beans that have been eaten and passed through the digestive system of the civet, a small animal found in Southeast Asia. Enzymes in the civet's stomach alter the flavor of the beans, making them smoother and less bitter. The result is a coffee with a unique, mild taste that coffee enthusiasts are willing to pay top dollar for. Imagine for a moment that Alaska was once part of Russia. Today, Alaska, one of the harshest and most remote states in the U.S., was formerly a part of the Russian Empire. It was sold to the United States in 1867 for a record-breaking $7.2 million. Alaska is not only one of the northernmost states, but also has the longest coastline in the U.S., stretching over 10,000 kilometers. The region has a challenging climate that makes it unique and markedly different from the rest of the country, while remaining an important strategic and natural resource. Imagine a cobra warning you with a scent before striking. When a cobra spreads its iconic hood, it's not just for show, it's part of a multi-layered defense system. The dramatic display makes the snake appear larger and more menacing. But some species go even further. They secrete pheromone-rich saliva to signal territory or attract mates. And if that doesn't work, spitting cobras can eject venom up to 1.8 meters away, aiming for the eyes to cause temporary blindness and severe pain. This venom isn't just toxic, it's a precision chemical weapon. The cobra's combination of bluff, chemical warning, and physical defense makes it one of nature's most sophisticated survivalists. No other combines these tactics with such chilling elegance. Have you ever wondered how moths sniff love from miles away? Male silkworm moths possess some of the most sensitive noses in the animal kingdom. Their feathery antennae are loaded with millions of scent receptors that can detect just a few molecules of a female's pheromone. From up to 16 kilometers away, these males lock onto the chemical trail and navigate with astonishing precision, even in total darkness. Once in range, they engage in a dance-like flight, guided by increasingly strong scent cues. This extreme sensitivity ensures that even in low-density populations, mating is still possible. Their antennae are so advanced, they've inspired sensor designs in modern robotics and technology. Nature made them into airborne pheromone-seeking missiles, all for the sake of love. Did you know there is a musical record left on the moon? In 1971, during the Apollo 15 mission, a music record was left on the moon with recordings of earthly artists. This record, featuring songs from the Beatles and others, became a symbol of peace and humanity. Today, it remains there as a message for future generations, or even aliens who might find it and hear the sounds of our planet. How would you react if you learned that the national motto of the USA is God helps? This might be surprising, especially in a country where there is no official state religion and freedom of worship is encouraged. The USA is a nation where everyone can choose their own faith, and the government does not interfere in these personal matters. Interestingly, the dollar is not just a currency, but a true icon of the global economy. Its printing is handled by only 12 banks, and the paper for the banknotes is produced by a single company, highlighting the significance of this currency on the world stage. Can you imagine that there's a village in Poland with upside-down houses? In the village of Szymbark, Poland, there's a unique house that stands upside down. It's not just an artistic installation, but a real tourist attraction that you can enter. The house was built as a symbol of the upheavals and changes that Poland experienced in the 20th century. Inside, everything is also upside down: the furniture, the stairs, and even the windows. Visitors who enter often feel slightly disoriented because the inverted space creates a dizzying effect. This place has become a tourist sensation and a must-see for anyone visiting the area. Amazing, but on Venus, it rains sulfuric acid. Imagine a planet where it rains. But instead of water, drops of sulfuric acid fall from the sky. That's exactly what happens on Venus. In its atmosphere, clouds are composed of sulfuric acid, and when it rains, the drops evaporate before reaching the surface due to extremely high temperatures, which can reach up to 470 degrees Celsius. This is one of the reasons Venus is considered one of the most hostile planets for life in our solar system. If we ever explore Venus, this hellish atmosphere would be a serious challenge for future technology. Did you know the largest diamond in the world weighed more than 3,000 carats? The Cullinan diamond, found in 1905 in South Africa, is the largest diamond ever discovered. It weighed a staggering 3,160 carats. This unique gem was divided into several pieces, some of which adorn the British royal regalia. This diamond is a true wonder of nature, and its size is simply breathtaking. Do you suffer from kenophobia? Fear of empty spaces? Kenophobia is a rare and unusual fear of empty spaces. People who have this fear feel uncomfortable in overly open places, where there is no furniture or objects creating a sense of fullness. Imagine playing hide and seek with someone who has kenophobia. The thought of finding a place to hide in a large empty room could become a real nightmare. This phobia highlights just how different our perceptions of the world around us can be. It's interesting that elephants have toes on their feet. Beneath the massive feet of elephants lies something surprising: 5 toes with thick pads that help evenly distribute the giant's weight. This allows elephants to move almost silently, despite their enormous size. Furthermore, these toes help them walk on various terrains, from desert sands to dense jungles, without getting stuck or injuring their feet. This foot structure makes their movement light and graceful, with each step feeling the surface beneath them. Can you imagine a snowflake the size of a plate? In 1887, the largest snowflake ever recorded fell in Montana. It was 15 inches wide and 8 inches thick. That's the size of a dinner plate. Imagine being under such a snowstorm. This amazing event went down in meteorological history as the most unusual snow phenomenon. So next time you complain about the snow, think, it could have been much bigger and more impressive. Did you know plastic bags can take centuries to decompose? The plastic bags we use every day can take up to several hundred years to decompose, or even longer. Unlike organic materials, plastic doesn't easily break down because it's not part of nature's cycle. Over time, it degrades into smaller pieces known as microplastics. But this process takes decades. This poses a serious environmental problem, highlighting the need to rethink how we use and dispose of plastic in our daily lives. It may seem unbelievable, but cows have 4 stomachs. Technically, cows have one stomach divided into 4 specialized chambers: the rumen, reticulum, omasum, and abomasum. This incredible digestive system allows them to extract nutrients from tough, fibrous plants. First, in the rumen, billions of microbes ferment the grass, producing fatty acids that the cow absorbs for energy. Then the food moves to the reticulum, where it's formed into cud and regurgitated for rechewing, a key step in digesting cellulose. In the omasum, water and minerals are filtered and absorbed. Finally, the abomasum acts like a true stomach, using acid and enzymes to finish digestion. This process not only makes cows efficient grazers, but also supports entire ecosystems by recycling plant matter. Though they seem slow, cows are living bioreactors, powerful converters of grass into energy, milk, and protein, with a stomach engineered like a 4-step production line. Why zebra foals start running right after birth? Zebra foals can run just 1 hour after being born. This amazing ability helps them survive in the wild, where predators are always on the lookout. Baby zebras are born with strong legs that allow them to stand up quickly and keep up with their herd. Thanks to this skill, they can avoid danger from the very start of their lives. Imagine being able to run within an hour of being born. These striped cuties are ready to show off their impressive speed and agility right from the start. The United States boasts the largest interstate highway system in the world, facilitating fast and convenient travel across the country. Over 75,000 miles of expressways and more than 400,000 miles of other federal roads connect cities, states, and regions. Additionally, the country has the longest railway system, further enhancing the efficient transportation of goods and people. These infrastructure achievements not only support economic growth, but also provide comfort for millions of Americans, enabling free movement across the continent. This vast highway network has become a crucial element in logistics and the tourism industry, exemplifying how effectively and on a large scale transportation infrastructure can be developed. The United States is the only developed country that does not provide free healthcare to its citizens. This situation sparks considerable debate in society, especially given the high costs of medical care. In 2019, 28 million Americans were uninsured, placing the country at the forefront of healthcare access issues. Statistics also show that nearly 45,000 people die each year due to lack of insurance. This problem remains a major issue on the political agenda in the U.S., as thousands face denial of medical assistance every year, posing a significant challenge for the nation. How many toes do you think cats have on their front paws? Cats' paws are truly unique, not just because they're cute. Most cats have 5 toes on their front paws and only 4 on their back paws. This makes their movement system particularly efficient for hunting and climbing. However, some polydactyl cats have extra toes, making them even more unique. It seems nature decided that a cat's paw shouldn't just be a survival tool, but also a perfect machine for capturing human hearts. The United States has the highest incarceration rate in the world. In 2012, there were 730 imprisoned individuals for every 100,000 Americans, placing the country at the top in terms of prisoners per capita. The justice system in the U.S. is uniquely strict, and although there have been several reforms in recent decades, issues such as prison overcrowding, poor rehabilitation quality, and significant racial disparities in the inmate population continue to persist. The high crime rate and large number of prisoners have repeatedly been topics of public debate and academic research. This prompts the government to seek ways to improve the justice system and find solutions to reduce the prison population in the future. Did you know that Hawaii is home to the tallest mountain peak in the world? Although Mount Everest is the highest point on land, when considering the underwater portion of the Mauna Kea volcano, it is 1.9 kilometers taller. Mauna Kea is a submarine volcano that begins on the ocean floor and rises nearly 10 kilometers upwards. From its summit, there are breathtaking views, and this volcano is regarded not only as a geographical wonder, but also as sacred by the local Hawaiians. Mauna Kea attracts the attention of scientists and tourists from around the globe, as its grandeur inspires admiration and respect. What's hidden in LEGO's secret vault? LEGO has a secret underground vault that stores every single set of building blocks the company has ever made. It's a true time capsule filled with nostalgia and creativity, waiting to delight fans of all ages. Imagine the wonders hidden beneath this vault, where both classic and modern sets are stored together. This vault is a dream come true for LEGO enthusiasts, preserving the company's entire legacy. Is the 10,000 steps a day just a myth? We often hear that walking 10,000 steps a day is essential for good health. But did you know that this number isn't scientifically backed? The figure originated in the 1960s as part of a marketing campaign for a Japanese pedometer, whose name translates as 10,000 steps. It was simply a catchy slogan that stuck in the culture, but in reality there is no specific scientific data that confirms that exactly 10,000 steps is the magic number. The number of steps needed to stay healthy can vary from person to person. Gorilla. Funny name or serious science? Who would have thought that one of the largest and most majestic animals on the planet bears such a funny scientific name? The western lowland gorilla is classified as gorilla. In biology, binomial nomenclature is used to classify species, and the repetition of the name here emphasizes the uniqueness of this particular subspecies. While it may sound amusing, for scientists, it's standard practice. Such naming helps to precisely identify species, avoiding confusion with other subspecies. So next time you see a gorilla, you can jokingly refer to its official scientific name. Did you know your eyes reveal your diet? It's true, the positioning of an animal's eyes can tell us a lot about what they eat and how they survive. Carnivores, like lions and eagles, have their eyes positioned at the front of their heads. This gives them excellent depth perception, helping them zero in on their prey with pinpoint accuracy. Imagine a lion stealthily moving through the grass, its sharp gaze locked on a gazelle. Now let's flip the script to herbivores. Think cows and rabbits. They have eyes located on the sides of their heads, allowing them to have a wider field of vision. This adaptation helps them keep an eye out for potential predators lurking nearby. With their panoramic sight, they can spot danger from almost any angle, making it easier to escape before it's too late. So next time you look at an animal, take a moment to notice where their eyes are. It's more than just a pretty face. It's a survival tool reflecting each creature's unique role in nature. Who would have thought that Al Capone's business card was anything but gangster? Did you know that the business card of America's most famous gangster, Al Capone, stated that he was a furniture salesman? This is an intriguing detail from the life of one of the most ruthless criminals of the 20th century. Capone rose to fame in the 1920s due to his criminal empire, yet he concealed his activities in official documents by claiming to run a completely legitimate business. This fact is striking as gangsters often use legal fronts to hide their criminal operations. How about this? Texas is essentially a separate country within the U.S. Texas is a unique state in the U.S. with a special status. It is the only state that has the right to fly its flag alongside the national flag. Texas was an independent nation for a long time before joining the U.S. in 1845. This status persists today, making Texas distinct among all American states. Texas's de jure status serves as a reminder of its history and traditions of independence. Guess what really drives Dunkin' Donuts' success? Founded in 1948 by William Rosenberg in Massachusetts, Dunkin' Donuts has become a beloved coffee and donut brand worldwide. With over 12,000 stores across 36 countries, it's hard to find a town without a Dunkin'. But what's the magic behind its popularity? The brand built its reputation on delivering a quick, delicious experience, making it perfect for busy mornings. Dunkin' offers a wide range of coffee drinks, from classic black to whimsical flavored options, catering to all taste buds. Did you know their signature coffee is brewed fresh throughout the day? This dedication to quality keeps customers coming back for their caffeine fix. Plus, Dunkin' isn't just about coffee. Their donuts, particularly the Boston cream and jelly varieties, are fan favorites. They've even expanded their menu to include breakfast sandwiches and snacks, appealing to those looking for a meal on the go. With a focus on customer experience and constant innovation, Dunkin' continues to thrive in a competitive market. So what's your favorite Dunkin' treat? Wow, in some U.S. states, atheists are not allowed to hold public office. In the U.S., there are 7 states where atheists are legally prohibited from holding public office. This is intriguing, as America is known for its fight for religious freedom. However, in some states, laws still exist that restrict the rights of individuals in public service based on their religious beliefs. This issue remains relevant for many residents seeking legislative changes that would guarantee full religious freedom for all citizens. Did you know that Tokyo has buildings that can grow? Tokyo has a construction technology that allows buildings to increase in height even after completion. The foundation is reinforced so that additional floors can be added later. This saves space in the metropolis and adapts to changing demands. For example, the Mizushima skyscraper was built with 14 floors, but later grew to 20. How can mysterious desert music frighten even the bravest? In the Sahara and other large sand deserts, you can hear an extraordinary sound often called the singing sands. When the wind blows over the surface of the dunes, the sand emits a deep hum as if an orchestra is playing an invisible symphony. This sound can be so powerful that it can be heard for miles. Some researchers think the sound is caused by the sand moving across the slopes, while local tribes believe it is the voices of desert spirits guarding their lands. Believe it or not, dolphins chat in an underwater chat room. Dolphins are far more than playful swimmers. They're acoustic geniuses of the deep. Using a combination of whistles, clicks, chirps, and burst pulses, they communicate complex messages about identity, mood, danger, and coordination. Each dolphin has a signature whistle, like a name, which it repeats to identify itself to others, even years after separation. More impressively, researchers have found syntax-like structures in their vocalizations. The order and length of sounds seem to follow consistent patterns, suggesting a form of grammar. Dolphins also use echolocation, emitting sound waves that bounce off objects, to see in murky waters and even assess internal states like pregnancy and others. In group hunts, dolphins synchronize clicks to corral fish or warn each other of threats. Their vocal universe is a true marine language, making the ocean one vast, intelligent conversation. Could it really be that beavers build dams to success? Beavers are more than rodents. They're hydrological engineers. Using nothing but teeth, paws, mud, and instinct, they construct dams that alter entire ecosystems. These structures slow rivers, creating stillwater ponds where beavers build their lodges with underwater entrances, safe from predators. Their work forms wetlands that host frogs, fish, birds, and plants, boosting biodiversity and water purity. By trapping sediment and moderating flow, beaver dams reduce erosion and prevent downstream floods. Even during droughts, the ponds they create act as water reservoirs. Scientists now replicate beaver dam models in ecological restoration to stabilize water systems and reverse desertification. In this way, beavers are not only survivors, they're natural architects who leave behind flourishing communities of life, all built from sticks and mud. The first computer bug was a real bug. In 1947, a real moth flew into one of the first computers, causing it to malfunction. This unexpected visitor became the first documented computer bug. Since then, the term bug has been used to describe any glitch in a computer system. Who would have thought that a tiny moth could play such a big role in technological history? This little incident also gave rise to the term debugging, and the story remains a quirky part of tech lore. Did you know that the income gap in the U.S. is enormous? In the U.S., there is a significant income gap between the richest and the rest of the population. The wealth of the top 1% of Americans is equivalent to that of the bottom 90%. This economic divide continues to grow, leading to social tension and an increase in protests over inequality. More and more Americans are concerned about how the wealthy keep accumulating riches while the rest of the population faces economic hardships. Butterflies taste with their feet. Butterflies travel the world not just by flying, but by walking on their food. They have taste receptors located right on their feet, giving them a sort of built-in gourmet GPS. These special sensors allow butterflies to quickly find the perfect leaves to lay their eggs. Imagine living in a world where you don't taste with your mouth, but with your feet. Butterflies live in that curious reality every day. You won't believe how The Matrix changed fashion. In the late 1990s, the release of The Matrix was more than just a groundbreaking film. It sparked a complete fashion revolution. The movie's distinctive cyberpunk aesthetic, which featured sleek black leather coats, combat boots, and oversized sunglasses, quickly captured the imagination of audiences around the world. Suddenly, everyday fashion shifted as people began gravitating toward that edgy high-tech look. The iconic characters, especially Neo and Trinity, became style icons, inspiring a legion of fans to imitate their bold outfits. This wave of influence reached beyond the screen into everyday life, affecting not only streetwear, but also high-fashion runways. Designers started to incorporate these futuristic elements, blending them with traditional styles. It was like a digital renaissance, merging tech and fashion in a way that felt revolutionary. This connection even echoed in various subcultures from goths to skaters who embraced the Matrix vibe, making its style a defining mark of the decade. So the next time you see someone in a black leather coat and sunglasses, you might just be witnessing the lasting impact of a film that changed the fashion game forever. Can you imagine that the U.S. controls 80% of global maritime trade? In fact, the U.S. is a major force in global shipping routes. 80% of world trade moves via the oceans, and surprisingly, the U.S. controls a significant portion of this traffic. In the 20th century, Americans recognized how to leverage their geographic potential to dominate the global economy. For a long time, trade routes ran through the Atlantic Ocean, but starting in the 1980s, an equal amount of goods began to be transported via the Pacific Ocean. This allowed the U.S. to expand its influence and gain an advantage in trade with Asian countries. Did you know that dark forms of oxygen can appear at the ocean floor? Scientists have discovered an amazing phenomenon, the so-called dark oxygen. Typically, we know that oxygen is produced by plants through photosynthesis with the help of sunlight. However, minerals found on the ocean floor can generate oxygen without sunlight. This discovery shocked the scientific community, as it was previously thought that oxygen on Earth only came from living organisms. Research has shown that rocks on the seabed, through a process called electrolysis of seawater, can split it into oxygen and hydrogen. This changes our understanding of oxygen generation on the planet. Believe it or not, hyenas laugh not out of joy. The iconic cackling of the spotted hyena may sound like comedy, but it's actually one of the most complex vocal communication systems in the mammalian world. Each laugh, giggle, or whoop encodes vital social information, age, sex, emotional state, and even rank within the clan hierarchy. These vocalizations signal submission during feeding disputes, summon allies during a hunt, and issue warnings about territorial intrusions. Scientists have cataloged over 30 distinct call types, each used in specific contexts. What's more, the intensity and frequency of a hyena's laugh can reveal how hungry or stressed it is. In cooperative hunts, vocal cues help coordinate ambushes and flanking maneuvers. Far from being aimless noise, hyena laughter is structured, meaningful, and essential to the social fabric of their cunning, female-dominated societies. Is it true that most dust is dead skin? Imagine that every day you shed millions of skin cells that turn into dust in your home. Dead skin cells make up a significant portion of household dust, along with clothing fibers, hair, and pollen. On average, a person loses about 200 million skin cells every hour. Of course, this doesn't sound very pleasant, but nature has designed your skin to constantly renew itself. In fact, one of the oils on your skin, squalene, helps reduce the harmful effects of ozone in the air, making your skin's microbiome a true protector of your environment. So the next time you're wiping down dust, remember, you're essentially cleaning away your yesterday cells that have already served their purpose. Amazing how the body continually renews itself and maintains balance with the environment. Did you know that the U.S. seized Panama for the canal? In 1903, when Panama was still part of Colombia, the U.S. engaged in a real political maneuvering. On November 4th, an uprising broke out in Panama, and the U.S. Navy blocked Colombian forces from suppressing the revolt. Just 2 days later, on November 6th, the U.S. recognized Panama's independence. Soon after, a treaty was signed granting the U.S. control over the Panama Canal, as well as the right to station troops in Panama and construct the canal. In exchange, the U.S. paid $10 million and an annual rent of $250,000. The canal opened new trade routes, but most importantly, provided the U.S. with a strategic advantage, allowing for rapid military deployment between oceans. Most people don't know this, but Singapore has no rivers. This tiny island nation, known for its stunning skyline and bustling city life, is one of only 4 sovereign states on the planet without permanent rivers. Bordered by just one country, Malaysia, the unique geography of Singapore has posed some challenges, especially when it comes to water supply. With limited natural freshwater resources, the country has become skilled at water management and sustainability. A significant portion of its water actually comes from its neighbor, Malaysia, thanks to a landmark agreement from 1961. This deal allows Singapore to import raw water from Johor and Lingyou at predetermined prices, ensuring that its citizens have enough to drink, use for sanitation, and enjoy in their lush parks. To further bolster its water security, Singapore has also invested heavily in technology and infrastructure, including advanced desalination plants and a comprehensive rainwater collection system. These efforts not only provide for its residents, but also set an inspiring example for water-scarce regions worldwide. Did you know that a jiffy is an actual unit of time? The term jiffy is not just a figure of speech. It's a real unit of time. In scientific terms, a jiffy is defined as the time it takes light to travel 1 centimeter in a vacuum, which is approximately 33 picoseconds. While we often use the word to refer to something happening quickly, scientists have made it a measurable moment. This fun fact shows that even the quickest of moments can be quantified if you delve deep enough into the mysteries of time. Why did Britain become a global empire? The influence of Great Britain on the world stage resulted from various factors, starting with the Industrial Revolution and extending to its military conquests. In the 19th century, Britain, with its navy and industrial innovations, established the largest empire in history, encompassing over 20% of the world's land. Consequently, British culture, language, and economy impacted many countries. What if I told you continents were once connected? Just a slim 2.4 miles or 3.8 kilometers across the Bering Strait, you can find the narrowest gap between Asia and North America. This might sound surprising, but during the last ice age, This icy stretch wasn't just water, it formed part of a land bridge called Beringia. Imagine a world where our modern continents were linked by this vast expanse of land, allowing ancient humans and wildlife to easily walk from one side to the other. This migration route teemed with life, making it a vital passage for animal species and early human ancestors. As the climate warmed and the ice melted, Beringia gradually disappeared beneath the waves, leaving behind a remarkable tale of how continents and species moved and adapted. Now, what remains is a chilly expanse of water separating two incredibly diverse regions, rich in history and stories of connection. So next time you think of the Bering Strait, remember it's more than just water. It's a reminder of how connected our world once was. The first footprint on the moon could stay there for over 1 million years. When Neil Armstrong made his famous footprint on the surface of the moon in 1969, little did he know that it could remain there for millions of years. Because the moon has no atmosphere, there are no processes like wind or rain to erase the print. This makes the moon a kind of time capsule, where astronauts' footprints could remain almost forever. That footprint will always be a symbol of humanity's drive to explore and conquer space. It's hard to believe, but the war between Britain and Zanzibar lasted just 38 minutes. In August 1896, Britain and its colony Zanzibar engaged in the shortest armed conflict in history, lasting only 38 minutes. Although this war was brief, it remains a significant episode in British history, vividly demonstrating the power of the empire at that time. Have you ever wondered what the average salary in the UK is? The average salary for Britons is about $30,000 per year, which is roughly $3,200 per month or 300,000 rubles. The British pound is one of the oldest currencies still in use today and is also one of the most expensive currencies, making it attractive to investors. However, the pound is also one of the most counterfeited currencies. How would you react to the fact that Winston Churchill was born in a women's restroom? What if you found out that one of Britain's greatest politicians was born in such an unusual place? This fact about Churchill has become almost mythical, and while it may not be true, such astonishing and vivid moments have become part of his legend. Churchill, who served as Prime Minister of the United Kingdom twice, played a crucial role in the Allies' victory in World War II. His speeches, resolve, and ability to make important decisions during the most challenging times of the war are key features of his political legacy. What if everything you knew about Greenland was marketing? When Eric the Red was exiled from Iceland in the late 10th century for committing murder, he sailed west and discovered a vast icy island. Knowing settlers wouldn't be excited by endless snow, he named it Greenland, to make it sound lush and appealing. This wasn't a mistake, but a calculated piece of Viking-era real estate branding. The southern tip of Greenland, where he landed, does have green valleys in summer, but over 80% of the island is covered by a massive ice sheet. Still, the name sparked curiosity and drew colonists across the sea. It worked so well that Norse settlements thrived there for centuries. The name outlived the colonies, embedding itself in maps and minds worldwide. In truth, Greenland's name is more fantasy than fact, proof that words can reshape perception just as powerfully as swords or sails. In the UK, there is a national sport, golf. Do you know its history? Golf originated in Scotland. The first mention of golf dates back to 1497, when King James II banned it to focus citizens on military training. However, in the following years, golf became an integral part of British culture and gained popularity here. Today, golf remains a popular sport and continues to host world championships. Hard to believe, but snakes can sleep with their eyes open. Snakes don't blink because they don't have eyelids. Instead, their eyes are covered by a transparent scale. During sleep, their eyes remain open, giving the impression that they are always watching their surroundings. This feature helps snakes stay alert to threats even while resting. The transparent scale also protects their eyes from dust and dirt, which is especially important for desert and forest dwellers. It's an incredible adaptation that allows them to sense danger even in their sleep. Thumbs have their own pulse. Have you ever wondered why people check their pulse using their index and middle fingers instead of their thumbs? It's because your thumb has its own pulse. Each thumb is supplied with blood by the radial artery, which runs along the wrist on the thumb side. This artery is so strong that you can feel its pulse when you touch it. That's why it's recommended to avoid using your thumb when taking a pulse, to prevent mixing up its pulse with your actual heartbeat. Now you know that even your thumb has its own little heartbeat. Did you know your keyboard is dirtier than a toilet seat? It sounds awful, but your keyboard can be a real breeding ground for germs. Studies have shown that keyboards often contain more bacteria than toilet seats. Dust, food crumbs, and microbes accumulate on the keys over time. That's why regularly cleaning your keyboard isn't just a good habit, it's an important hygiene measure. A keyboard cleaner and wet wipes are your best friends in the battle against germs. How do insects breathe without lungs? Insects have a fascinating respiratory system. They don't have lungs, but instead breathe through tiny pores called spiracles. These spiracles are located on their thorax and abdomen, allowing air to flow through a network of tubes called tracheae. Some insects can even control their breathing by opening and closing the spiracles, and in low oxygen conditions, they can temporarily slow their metabolism by recycling the oxygen stored in their tracheae. This respiratory system is just one of the many ingenious adaptations that help insects thrive in diverse environments. Did you know that the highest peak in Pennsylvania is lower than the lowest point in Colorado? This surprising fact highlights the incredible diversity and contrast in the geography of the United States. Pennsylvania's highest point, Mount Davis, stands at only 983 meters, which is actually lower than the lowest point in Colorado. The Arkansas River, at around 1,000 meters above sea level. Geography can sometimes surprise you with unexpected comparisons like this one. Wow, did you know the first ATM came before the internet? The modern ATM might feel like a product of the digital age, but it was born in 1967, long before smartphones or Wi-Fi. On June 27th of that year, Barclays Bank unveiled the world's first cash machine in London. Its inventor, John Shepherd Barron, was inspired by chocolate vending machines and designed a system that dispensed money using special paper vouchers and chemical pins. Early users inserted these slips to get up to $10, roughly $180 today. Though primitive, the machine revolutionized banking by giving people access to their money 24/7. It paved the way for today's seamless digital payments, card security, and mobile banking. The ATM wasn't just a convenience, it was a leap toward financial independence, automation, and trust in machines. Believe it or not, the FBI had a Bigfoot file. In the 1970s, the FBI opened a real investigation into Bigfoot. Yes, the mythical ape-like creature of North American folklore. They received over 20,000 letters from citizens submitting hair samples, footprints, and blurry photos. One sample, sent by a cryptozoologist from the Pacific Northwest, prompted the FBI to conduct actual lab tests. Though the hair turned out to belong to a deer, the case was filed officially under cryptid reports and stored alongside UFO dossiers. The documents, declassified decades later, show how the agency took public concern seriously, even when it leaned toward the extraordinary. While Bigfoot remains elusive, his case file lives on as a quirky chapter in American science and skepticism. Sometimes, even the most rational institutions indulge in a little monster hunting. Prepare to be amazed by America's vast cattle pastures. Over 1/3 of all land in the contiguous United States is used as pastures for cattle, covering an impressive 654 million acres. That's about 2.6 million square kilometers, making up a whopping 35% of the total land area. This decision to dedicate such a large portion of land to cattle grazing reflects the importance of beef production in American agriculture. When you include cropland that grows feed specifically for cows, the land used for this industry jumps to 41%. Think about it. Every time you enjoy a steak or hamburger, consider the vast landscapes that contribute to that meal. These pastures provide not just food, but also significant economic activity and livelihoods for countless farmers. However, they also pose challenges like land management and environmental impacts. As we enjoy the benefits of these pastures, it's crucial to balance agricultural needs with environmental stewardship. Isn't it fascinating how much land plays a role in our food systems? The secret to flight: 4 forces that keep a plane in the air. A plane's flight isn't just about its wings. In reality, there are 4 forces at work: lift, thrust, drag, and gravity. Lift keeps the plane in the air thanks to the wings. Thrust propels the plane forward through its engines. Drag resists the plane's motion, and gravity pulls it down. These forces work together to maintain stable flight, like a well-choreographed dance where each force has its role. Understanding these forces can make the marvel of flight even more fascinating. Isn't it fascinating that our brain stays alert when we sleep in a new place? Have you ever noticed that you sleep less soundly the first night in a new place, like a hotel or a friend's house? This is due to a phenomenon known as the first night effect. It turns out that part of our brain remains on guard when we sleep in an unfamiliar environment, helping to protect us from potential threats. Studies show that the left hemisphere of the brain remains more active than the right, allowing us to react more quickly to external stimuli. This ancient survival mechanism helps our bodies adapt to new surroundings. But don't worry, over time, the brain adjusts to the new place, and the first night effect fades, allowing you to sleep more peacefully. Can you believe coconuts kill more people than sharks? Sharks may star in our nightmares, but coconuts are the real silent killers. Every year, an estimated 150 people die from falling coconuts, 3 times the global average of fatal shark attacks. A coconut can fall from heights of 25 meters and hit speeds of over 50 km/h, delivering the force of a brick from a rooftop. These accidents are especially common in tropical resorts, where hammocks and beach chairs sit temptingly beneath swaying palms. Unlike sharks, coconuts don't need teeth to do damage. The irony: one is feared for drama, the other is ignored for familiarity. It's a reminder that real danger often hides in the ordinary, not the exotic. And the next time you relax under a coconut tree, a little awareness might go a long way. The story of ink saving. How a period saved a newspaper thousands of dollars. How important do you think a tiny change in logo design could be? In 1967, the New York Times decided to remove the period at the end of its name. This decision wasn't driven by aesthetics, but by savings. The newspaper calculated that dropping the period could save them a significant amount of ink, around $600 a year, which today equals approximately $6,000. While such an amount may seem insignificant at first for publishers, it became an example of how even the smallest changes can lead to substantial resource savings. Imagine how one small decision could impact the budget of an entire company. It's hard to believe, but the Great Wall of China is not a single structure, but a collection of separate walls. The Great Wall stretches for thousands of kilometers and consists of a series of various fortifications built to protect China from northern invasions. Contrary to popular myth, it is not one continuous structure, but rather a chain of different walls that connected at various points. This monumental structure holds historical significance and symbolizes the strength and protection of Chinese civilization.